If you only have a couple minutes for scripture today, I got you. Welcome to today's Bite-Sized Biblecast. I'm using YouVersion's verse of the day, and we're reading out of the ESV, and today's verse of the day is Psalm 23, verse 4. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. This is another one of those verses that, especially if you grew up in the church, you have at least heard it. You are familiar with it. You may even have it memorized. In your memory, like mine, it might begin with "Yea, though I walk," instead of the more modern "Even though I walk." But this is another one of those that I want to challenge you to strip away your current understanding of it and look at it with fresh eyes, so you can really hear and understand and see, okay, God, I don't want to just hear this and it trigger an automatic response of, oh, how nice, oh, how comforting, and that's it. No, let's actually dig in and see what truth is in here. This God challenged me a bit on this today. First of all, the valley of the shadow of death is going to look different for everyone. Whatever you're dealing with right now, it's going to look different from what I'm dealing with, what people on the other side of the world are dealing with. Whatever your valley of the shadow of death looks like or has looked like in your life, that is valid. And I think that comparison is one way, I know, comparison is one way that the enemy creeps in and causes division and even calls into question our relationship with God. And when things feel really hard, it's okay for them to feel really hard. I've talked a lot about this. I have dealt with some insane stuff in my life. Circumstances that are pretty wild are still not completely over. But sometimes I can compare myself to people on the other side of the world who don't have food, like what's happening in Gaza right now. And it can be easy to look at that and go, wow, my troubles don't feel like they should matter. And that can undermine our faith. First of all, I want to encourage you to identify what a name, even give a name to, okay, what is the difficult thing in your life right now, or a difficult situation that you have dealt with in the past. And where did God show up in that? How is God showing up in that? Because even just recognizing that we're in a tough season can set the stage for being able to trust God through that season. And now here's the part that God really hammered into my brain this morning. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. Fear often feels like it should fit into a neat box, but something that God showed me this morning is that fear can take several different forms. For example, something that I have been researching a lot lately is the biblical concept of justice. If you missed yesterday's Bite-Sized Biblecast on Micah 6:8, definitely go watch that when you have a minute. That one's a longer one. But I was digging into, okay, what is the biblical concept of justice? The word used for justice is mishpat, and so I am going through and doing a deep study on the word mishpat. So if you're interested in learning more about that, follow, subscribe, all the things so that you can follow along there. But I have been really interested in this concept of justice for as long as I can remember. I've always had an extremely strong sense of justice from the young days of being like, it's not fair that my sibling got this and I didn't, now up to present day where I'm aware of a lot of things that are going on in the world that are unjust. I've always had this very strong sense of justice, both in my personal life and extending out to the greater world. And something that God showed me today is that my strong sense of justice can sometimes be fear dressed up as something righteous. Oof. Let's sit with that one for a minute. So for you, maybe it's not justice that fear is presenting as. Maybe for you, it's numbing. Maybe for you, it's anxiety. Maybe for you, it's just all of a sudden being very, very social. Fear can take so many different shapes, but at the end of the day, it comes back to the same thing. And in this verse, Psalm 23, there's what's essentially a command from God in first person form. I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. What does that actually mean, and how can we actually do something about that? Something that God said to me while I was doing some listening prayer this morning was, what feels like a sense of justice, or insert your own word there, can in reality be fear. Don't let darkness pervert justice. Don't forget whose you are or who is in control. Don't doubt me, daughter, even when doubt is dressed up like something benign or even righteous. So that comes back to this idea we've been exploring in recent Bite-Sized Biblecasts of actually turning to God for rest, for strength, actually relying on Him, giving our cares to Him. And I created a practical tool. I posted a video about it yesterday as well. If you go to rachelgrit.com/13, just like the number 13, I created some really cute autumn wallpapers. But the point of them is that they have a prayer on them that God helped me write, because I'm in a season right now where there's a lot of mental shifting that has to take place, where something will come to mind and make me angry or scared or doubt, or even just get distracted from what God has put in front of me right now. And so this prayer that God helped me craft, I'm really into crafting prayers right now. The book Crafted Prayers by Graham Cook is phenomenal. I highly recommend it. But this prayer God helped me craft to really take my thoughts captive and turn them over to him. So I turned that prayer into a couple different cute autumn wallpapers, because I just love seasonal things, and things are just more fun if they're pretty, right? You're going to want to look at them if they're pretty. So it's functional and pretty, and the prettiness serves a function too. So go to rachelgrit.com/13, like just the numbers. Well, I'll just put on the screen here, to download those. And that is a functional, like practical tool to help you, whatever season you're in, kind of use that fear. Once you identify what fear is dressing up as, for me, a lot of times it can be a sense of justice, like this righteous, angry justice. Once you figure out what your fear is dressing up as and are able to identify it, you can use those feelings and use that emotion coming up as a trigger to turn it over to God. And this prayer is a really great way to, without having to put a lot of thought into wording, because sometimes just having to word something a certain way and not knowing how to can stop us from praying. So I created these wallpapers to have that just front and center, so you really easily can just look at your phone, something that we all have in our hands for better or worse all the time anyways, and just be able to turn that over to God in an effective way. Verbal surrender is a huge tool in my faith that has helped me grow a lot, so I want to encourage you to do that as well. So today's action item is a little self-serving. Well, it's not. I want to share this with you, and I created this in order to help you as well as myself. I created it for me, but then I'm sharing it with you. You know what I mean. So go to this website right down here and download one of those wallpapers, and then leave a comment telling me which one you chose, but also what have you identified that your fear is dressing up as. Right, that is all I have for you today. So make sure you follow for more. Subscribe to my podcast. It is rachelgrit.com/podcast. Go subscribe, leave me 5 stars on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or wherever you listen. It's all over. And I will see you in the next one.